cricket fans, get ready, because we're diving deep into the IPL 2025 opener. It's the Royal Challengers Bangalore versus the Kolkata Knight Riders, and it all kicks off on March 22nd at the one and only Eden Gardens.
I think what's really fascinating about this matchup is this is like a clash of styles. You've got KKR, the reigning champs. They're coming in with all that experience and tactical kind of, prowess. And then you have RCB, a team that's really brimming with a youthful energy and this like palpable hunger to prove themselves.
Yeah, it's going to be like a clash of the titans.
Yeah.
I love it. And, to really get a sense of just how epic this rivalry is, I think we should rewind a little bit. You got all the historical stats there. So what does the head-to-head look like between these two teams?
Well, if we're talking history, KKR definitely has the upper hand. Yeah, out of 31 matches that these two have played, KKR has won 17 times.
So advantage KKR.
Well, RCB has won 14 times, so it's not like a totally one-sided thing. And when you factor in recent form, things get even more interesting.
Okay, so this is where I think it really starts to heat up.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how these teams are coming into this matchup. I mean, KKR, they're on a high after that championship win last year, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They absolutely dominated the 2024 season. And to top it off, they had that powerful victory over Sunrisers Hyderabad in the final. They won by 8 wickets.
But I remember there was like a little hiccup in the season for them too, right?
You're talking about that no-result match against the Rajasthan Royals. It ended up being abandoned because of rain. And that does add a little bit of unpredictability to their overall performance. Like, how do you judge a team when you don't really get to see them play a full match? It's a bit of a mystery.
Yeah, for sure. Now, RCB, on the other hand, they had a bit of a roller coaster season last year, didn't they?
Yeah, it was a real mixed bag. They had that tough loss against the Rajasthan Royals in the eliminator round. And just for those who may not know, that's like the knockout match right before the IPL semifinals. But then they bounced back and really showed their fighting spirit with a big win against Chennai Super Kings.
So essentially we have the defending champs coming in with all this confidence versus this team that's, like eager to prove themselves. It's kind of like the classic David and Goliath story unfolding, would you say?
Absolutely. And just like David, RCB has a few tricks up their sleeve. And by tricks, I mean a lineup of explosive batsmen. Okay,
so let's talk about some of these players. Who should we be watching closely, starting with the batsmen?
Well, for KKR, keep a close eye on Sunil Narine. He's been in absolutely phenomenal form lately. In his last 10 matches, he's racked up 321 runs at an average of 35.67. And his strike rate is just mind-blowing, 179.32.
Wow, those are some serious numbers. I can only imagine what RCB's bowlers are thinking right now as they try to figure out how to contain him.
Yeah, they're going to have to be on their toes, that's for sure. And it's not just Narine. KKR also has Venkatesh Iyer in their arsenal. He's been incredibly consistent, averaging over 60 with a strike rate of 162.23. Basically, these two together, they can dismantle any bowling attack if they get going.
So it sounds like KKR's batting lineup is one to be reckoned with. But, I mean, we can't forget RCB has their own run-scoring maestro, right?
Are you talking about King Kohli?
Well, one and only Virat Kohli. He's a constant threat and always delivers at the highest level. In his last 10 matches, he scored 425 runs at an average over 47 and with a strike rate of 161.59.
Yeah.
And, his ability to just anchor the innings and build partnerships makes him such a valuable asset for RCB.
Yeah, he's like the backbone of their batting, no doubt. And alongside Kohli, we have this young, dynamic player, Rajat Patidar. He's also been putting up some really impressive numbers, 345 runs at an average of 38.33 and a strike rate of almost 195.
Wow. So it seems like both teams are bringing some serious batting firepower to this opener. We could be in for a high-scoring game for sure.
Yeah, definitely. But let's not forget the other side of the equation. The bowlers are going to have a huge role to play in how this match unfolds.
Okay, true. So let's shift gears a little and talk about the bowlers. Who are the key players to watch out for?
Well, for KKR Varone, Chakravarti has been a model of consistency. He's taken 16 wickets in his last 9 matches, and he's so economical, giving away just 7.44 runs per over. And he strikes roughly every 12 balls. It'll be fascinating to see how he goes up against RCB's aggressive batting lineup.
And for RCB, they have Yash Dayal, who is a real rising star. He's grabbed 10 wickets in his last 9 matches. Now, his economy rate might be a little higher than Chakravarti's at 9.66, but he still manages to strike every 18 balls. Definitely someone to keep an eye on.
Yeah, it's going to be a real battle of skill and strategy as these bowlers try to outwit the batsmen. And, we have to factor in the pitch at Eden Gardens. It can be a bit challenging.
Speaking of shaking things up a bit,
Yeah.
both teams have made some pretty big changes to their squads in the recent mega auction, right?
They have KKR under the cool and collected leadership of Ajinkya Rahane. They've kept a core group of experienced players like Sunil Nareen and Andre Russell. They bring that firepower and tactical experience to the team.
And then they've got those exciting young players like Venkatesh Iyer and Varun Chakravarthi, who are really making a name for themselves.
Yeah, it's a great mix of experience and that youthful energy.
And what about RCB? They've had a bit of a transformation, haven't they?
Yeah, they've really revamped their squad.
Yeah.
RCB, led by the one and only Virat Kohli, has brought in some fresh faces like Rajat Patidar and Yash Dayal, who are already showing a lot of promise. They're looking to write a new chapter in their IPL journey.
Yeah, it seems like both teams have really carefully crafted their squads, trying to find that sweet spot between experience and fresh talent.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's not just the players. The venue itself plays a huge role. And we're talking about Eden Gardens, a ground that's famous for its electric atmosphere, and a pitch that often caters to both the batsmen and the bowlers.
Oh, yeah, the Eden Gardens crowd. They're legendary for their passion and energy, and, they can really lift their team and create this kind of intimidating atmosphere for the opposition.
Oh, it's true. And the pitch at Eden Gardens is known for being fairly balanced. It can be good for batting, but it also gives something to the bowlers, especially the spinners. So I think this match is shaping up to be a really captivating contest between bat and ball.
So we've got this clash of contrasting styles, a historical rivalry that's about to reignite, informed players who are ready to shine, and a venue that's basically a character in itself. This is already shaping up to be one for the ages.
It's a perfect recipe for some cricketing drama. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's take a closer look at some of those tactical nuances that could really determine who comes out on top. We need to break down each team's strengths and weaknesses, analyze those potential game plans, and really examine the key matchups that could tip the scales.
Okay, I am so ready to dive deeper.
Yeah.
Let's break down this strategic chess match that's about to unfold on the field.
All right, so let's start with KKR. I think their real strength lies in their experience and that tactical flexibility. They've got this solid batting lineup with proven match winners, like we talked about Sunil Nareen and Venkatesh Iyer. And their bowling attack is really adaptable. They can handle different situations.
Right, and of course they have Ajinkya Rahane as their captain. He just brings a sense of calm, and he's a seasoned leader who knows how to bring out the best in his players. What kind of tactical approach do you think he'll go for in this match?
Well, I think Rahane's going to really focus on building those strong partnerships and putting pressure on RCB right from the start. Nareen and Iyer are in such good form, so I think they're going to want to maximize those power play overs and set up a solid foundation for their innings.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Go.
KKR has always been a team that emphasizes those partnerships, but, every team has their weaknesses. Where do you see some potential vulnerabilities for KKR?
Well, their top order is definitely formidable, but their middle order can be a little inconsistent. So if RCB's bowlers can, strike early and get those wickets and expose that middle order, they might be able to put a cap on KKR's scoring.
That's a really good point. So if RCB can disrupt their rhythm early on, they might have a chance to gain that upper hand.
Okay, so let's flip the script and talk about RCB. Now, their strength, as we discussed, is that explosive batting lineup led by Virat Kohli.
Oh, absolutely. Kohli is just a game changer. And with Rajat Patidar, he showed so much potential last season. Their top order is looking incredibly dangerous. They have the firepower to rack up a really big total.
And of course, every team has their vulnerabilities. Where do you think RCB might struggle?
Well, while their batting is top-notch, their bowling attack is still relatively inexperienced, especially compared to KKR's. So they might find it tough to contain KKR's batsmen, particularly on a pitch like Eden Gardens, which can really favor the batsmen. So it seems like this match could really come down to RCB's batting strength versus KKR's bowling prowess. It's going to be interesting. So what are some of those key matchups that you think could decide the outcome of this game?
Oh, man. One that I'm super excited to see is Virat Kohli going up against Varun Chakravarthi. It's going to be Kohli's aggressive style versus Chakravarthi's mystery spin. Can Kohli figure out Chakravarthi's variations and dominate him? Or is Chakravarthi going to outsmart him with his guile and accuracy? It's going to be a real battle of skill and temperament.
Yeah, I'll definitely be glued to my seat for that one.
Yeah. Another
matchup that'll be interesting is Sunil Nareen versus, RCB's bowlers. Nareen can score so quickly and disrupt their plans. It could be a real game changer.
Yeah.
How do you think RCB is going to approach that challenge?
Well, they're going to have to be strategic. They could try to attack Nareen early on and get him out of his comfort zone, or they could try to contain him and shift their focus to the other batsmen. It's a tough call. You know, a lot will depend on the conditions on the day and the state of the match at the time.
And let's not forget the battle of the captains. You've got Rahani's calm and collected approach versus Kohli's, fiery and passionate leadership style. How do you think that dynamic's going to play out?
Oh, it's going to be a fascinating clash of styles. Rahane is probably going to try to maintain that steady tempo and build up the pressure slowly, while Kohli might be more likely to take risks and, go for the big plays. It'll be interesting to see who can really impose their style of play on the game and control the flow.
All right. So we've analyzed their strengths, their weaknesses, and some of those potential key battles. I think it's pretty clear both teams have what it takes to win, and it's going to be a close one. But now for the big question. Who do you think is going to walk away with the victory?
Oh, man, that is a tough one to call. Both teams have their advantages and disadvantages, It could really go either way. But if I had to put my money on one team, I'd probably give a slight edge to KKR.
Oh, interesting. What makes you lean towards KKR?
Well, they're coming off that championship win. So they have that psychological edge. They know what it feels like to win under pressure. I think that counts for a lot. And they've got a more balanced squad overall with depth in both their batting and bowling. And of course, you can't forget about their captain, Rahane. He's got a proven track record of success.
Yeah, those are some good points. But, we can't forget RCB's fighting spirit. They've got a really talented squad. And with Kohli at the helm, you can never count them out. They could definitely pull off an upset.
I totally agree. Anything can happen in the IPL. That's what makes it so exciting. We've seen underdogs come out on top time and time again. RCB might just find a way to overcome KKR's experience and tactical advantage.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about the tactical and strategic side of things. But in a high-pressure game like this, the mental game is just as important. How do you think that mental aspect is going to play out?
Oh, you're absolutely right. In a big game like this, nerves can definitely play a role. For KKR, it's all about managing that pressure of being the defending champions. They need to stay focused and not let those expectations get to them.
And for RCB, it's all about channeling that underdog spirit and playing with freedom and aggression. They need to embrace that challenge and really believe in themselves.
Yeah, it's not just about physical skill and tactics. It's about mental toughness, keeping your cool and being able to perform under pressure. The team that can stay calm and execute their plans is going to have a huge advantage.
So we've covered the tactics, the key matchups, and that crucial mental game. But let's zoom out for a second and think about the bigger picture. What does this opening match mean for both teams, in the context of the whole IPL season?
That's a great question. For KKR, a win in this opener would really set the tone for their title defense. It would send a message to the other teams that they're still the ones to beat and that they're not letting up.
And for RCB, a win would be a huge confidence boost. It would prove that their new squad is the real deal and give them the momentum they need to make a real run for the title.
Exactly. It would shut down all the doubters and show everyone that they're a serious contender.
So yeah, the stakes are high. The pressure is on, and both teams have everything to play for. This opening match isn't just about 2 points. It's about setting the tone for the entire season.
It's about establishing their identity, showing their dominance, and proving that they're in it to win it.
Wow. This has been an incredible deep dive so far. We've uncovered so many layers of this matchup, analyzed all the tactical intricacies, and explored the mental battle that's about to go down.
And we've only just scratched the surface. There's still so much more to discover, Like that historical rivalry between these two teams, the impact of that Eden Gardens crowd, and the personal stories of the players who are going to be out there on the field.
I'm ready to go even deeper. Let's continue this exploration of this epic clash in part 3 of our deep dive. Welcome back to the deep dive. We are in the final stretch of our analysis of this RCB versus KKR IPL 2025 opener. And you know what? I'm already starting to feel that excitement building as we get closer and closer to match day.
Oh, yeah. The anticipation is definitely in the air. We've talked a lot about, the tactics and the strategies. But I think now is a good time to dig into something that sometimes gets overlooked, and that's that historical rivalry between these two teams. It really adds a whole other layer to this matchup.
Oh, I'm all for that. Rivalries always spice things up.
Yeah.
So what are some of those defining moments that have shaped this RCB-KKR rivalry?
We got to think back to 2012. KKR led by Gautam Gambhir at the time. They pulled off this thrilling victory against RCB in a super over finish. It was one of those nail biters that went right down to the wire. The fans were on the edge of their seats.
Oh, man, those super over finishes are always so intense. I can only imagine the atmosphere in the stadium that day. Any other memorable clashes that come to mind?
Oh, for sure. In 2019, RCB snatched this dramatic last ball victory against KKR at Eden Gardens. And that match was just full of twists and turns, RCB chasing down a tough total. It was a wild finish.
Wow. So it sounds like this rivalry has seen its fair share of drama. How do you think this history is going to play into the players' mindsets going into this opening match?
Oh, it's definitely going to add fuel to the fire. Players always want to beat their rivals, and those memories of past encounters, both good and bad, are going to be right there in the back of their minds.